All right, guys, another Cleveland Moto, badass bikes on a budget. We have had some fun lately with the springtime coming on. You know, last year I was raving about those Kawasaki Versys 650s, and I still love them. I rode one today to work in the rain, pouring down rain. Bike ran great, handled great, lightweight, fun bike to ride. But this is the bigger brother of that sort of behavior. So what we have here is on my right, your left, we've got a 2010 Ducati Multistrada. Now this is a regular Multistrada, 1200. It's what you're going to get. It's the base model, for lack of a better term. Even the base model back then was around 15 grand. The base model, good machine, but to my left, your right, we're going to have the 1200S Touring, and this is the top of the line. So this is the Multistrada 1200 with all of the factory bells and whistles, and it really does have a lot going for it. So these two bikes are basically the same exact motorcycle. They've got all that stuff like the fancy digital key fob, you know, the switchblade keys, and a proximity, so you don't ever actually put your key in the motorcycle. You just walk up to it, and then the bike notices that you're there within like a 6-foot radius and allows you to start the machine. That's kind of cool. The displays on both of these bikes are identical. They're way too much information. God, there's a lot of information going on. But what these bikes do is they give the operator the ability to fine-tune a whole lot of different things. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the base model. The base model is the Ducati 1200 Multistrada. Now, its base numbers are off the charts. Just as a standard motorcycle, as the less expensive version of this motorcycle, you're getting a hell of a lot over here. First of all, obviously 6-speed transmission, you're going to have that. On this bike, 48 millimeter suspension up front. It's got a load of suspension. This thing's got travel for days. The idea that Ducati had with these motorcycles is they wanted to have what they called a 4-bike-in-1 system. So the Multistrada thing was like, so you could replace an enduro, and you could replace a touring bike, and you could replace a commuter, and you could replace a sport bike, all with one machine. You didn't need to have 4 bikes in your garage. And if you read the reviews of the day, where they competed this bike against Triumph Tigers and a lot of other stuff, people really love this machine because Ducati always gives you great heaping gobs of motor, great heaping gobs of torque, and ridiculously thought out suspension and frames. And that's what you got with both of these bikes. They're really lightweight, 417 pounds dry. I mean, this is a 1200cc motorcycle and it's 417 pounds? Holy cow. Carries 5.3 gallons of gas on it. Suspension height, seat height's about 33 inches, okay? Even in the base model, 6-speed transmission, the clutch is a wet clutch, so it doesn't make that Ducati battle rattle. You know, it doesn't pull up the light and go, this sounds normal. It's got a little bit of a clatter to it, but it still sounds like a normal motorcycle. Now, even the base model has the Ducati, it's got this DTC. So it's the traction control system. It's in the base model bike. So you can press the button and just like that, go from sport mode to touring mode to urban mode to enduro mode. Now, you're going to read different things about the horsepower on this bike. You're going to read that it's either 150 horsepower or 135 horsepower. I've found that it's been in print in both amounts in different locations, and what we've seen is it appears to be back tire rear wheel horsepower about 137, crank 150. But when you're in urban mode or enduro mode, it clips that. It knocks that horsepower down to 100 horsepower, a paltry little 100 horsepower. When I first got the bike, I rode it around and I left it in urban mode, and it more than scared my pants off 2 or 3 times. So don't think that that 100 reduction is really hurting the bike. Wow, you know, a dirt bike that only has 100 horsepower? No, so sad. But no, it really does go. So in sport mode and in touring mode, even on the base model, let's call it 137 horsepower. We tend to err on the side of honesty here. And then enduro mode and urban mode, 100 horsepower. Now that Ducati traction control system, that's standard on that motorcycle. You're not paying more for that. That's going to come on the base model bike. I think that's super cool of them to do that. Again, this bike is about 92 foot-pounds of torque. So 92 foot-pounds of torque is going to be more than you need for anything on this light of a motorcycle. Again, 417 pounds dry. Now, the bike comes as you see it in the picture. The only thing the previous owner did on this bike was added the Aero aftermarket exhaust system and a power commander to sort of match the bike to the exhaust. Both of these bikes have that 11-degree overlap Testastrada motor, and that's how they went from such a big jump from the old 1100 mil. The 1100 mil had about 30-40% horsepower than these do. So when you look at that Testastrada motor, which is at home in an 1100cc sport bike, and you take it and put it in these adventure touring style bikes, it really does make a difference, and that's on both bikes. So now let's talk for a second about the S Touring. So on the S model, just a standard Ducati, but then you add the S package. What you're going to pick up is all the cool Öhlins suspension. You're going to get the Öhlins. Now both bikes come with the Brembos, that's great. But when you add the Öhlins, that was your old way of getting the S model. You got some carbon fiber business, you got some Öhlins suspension, but then they take it one step higher and they go to the Touring model. Now the Touring model, beyond what you see, which is the Ducati quick disconnect removable luggage, a little bit of a bigger windshield. Now these windshields are both adjustable. You just turn the knob on the side and the windshields slide up and down about 4 inches. But on the Touring model, you get my favorite thing in the world, heated grips. I love heated grips. This bike has heated grips. You also get Ducati electronic suspension system, which was engineered and designed by Öhlins. What this does is literally while you're on the fly, you can stab the button. You know, when you turn your turn signals off, there's turn signal left, turn signal right, push it in the middle to turn the turn signals off. Well, when you stab that button and the turn signals aren't running, it actually changes your riding mode, and you can change your suspension mode. And what that means is I have my bike currently set up for one dude and one bag. Like they call it like one rider and their luggage. So you can set this bike to 4 different configurations. One rider, no luggage. One rider with luggage. 2 riders with luggage, and 2 riders without luggage. And you can literally do that by a button press. And you can feel it. It's electronically adjusted suspension, and it absolutely does change the way the bike feels to you, the rider. They call their system the Ducati Skyhook suspension system. And I have to say that without being insane, like, oh, this is the greatest thing in the world, it really is the greatest suspension system I've ridden. It feels fantastic. The bike is very predictable. It feels like it's got your back all the time with the Ducati traction control system. And the ABS on this thing is fantastic. It is not invasive. It feels really good. It's got you, when you get into a pucker situation, that ABS is right there for you. And I really appreciate that. The heated grips on this thing work fantastically. At the medium setting, it's all you'll ever need. You will not need to go into the full maximum heated grip setting. Everything can be done on the display. And the interesting thing about a lot of these bikes is a lot of the manufacturers now, as they're getting into this techie stuff, they'll have these presets. Of course, we talked about sport mode, we talked about touring mode, we talked about our urban mode and our enduro mode. We talked about our suspension settings, our 4 presets for that. So you can see like blending that right off the bat. We've got 4x4, 4 different configurations. This will also let you drill down beneath that and make custom fine-tunable settings for your suspension. So when you have the bike in the I'm riding alone mode, you can literally get into that Öhlins suspension and you can dial up the degrees of pressure and the way that it works. So maybe it's like, okay, when I've got my wife on the back and we're riding back and forth to work, or maybe when I got my luggage, that means I'm commuting back and forth to work. But when I've got nothing and it's just that one helmet mode, that's me out being a hooligan, I've got my suspension set perfectly the way that I like it. And you can do that on this motorcycle. Now this bike just came in and got brand new tires on it, so it is ready to go, and I've been the one lucky enough to ride this bike for the past couple of weeks. Both these bikes just came in. Go to our website to check them out. They're both at ClevelandMoto.com. If you have any personal history or you've got any stories about Ducati Multistradas that you've owned, just let me know. I'll be happy to post them under the comments section in the video. These bikes are both available right now. They've both been gone through. We've checked both bikes out. We've given them full safety inspections. Absolutely love them. Whether you're into the standard 1100 Multistrada, 1200 Multistrada, or whether you're into the 1200 Multistrada S with the touring package, we have them both here. There's getting to be a lot of red in our showroom. It might be this Ducati phase I'm going through right now. But I think Ducati nailed it. I'm a 49-year-old guy. I'm a tall guy, and I like to sit upright and I like to be comfortable. These bikes are really perfect for that, yet they still have all the power, all the torque, all the handling that I would want out of a sport bike that doesn't hurt my back. So remember, get in touch with us, ClevelandMoto.com. If you want to call and get information about these bikes and you don't feel like reaching out to us via email, all you got to do is 216-795-5580. We'll be happy to answer any questions you might have about these motorcycles. And remember, please, ride fast, take chances.